Hello and welcome to the famous Matches of Magic channel. Today we present Pro Tour Chicago 1999 between Brian Davis and Raphael Levy in the quarterfinals. This matchup is between the famous Necropotence control deck and Raphael Levy playing a survival of the fittest opposition deck. Raphael Levy tries to control his opponents with a Winter Orb opposition combo where he can tap down his own Winter Orb with opposition so that he can untap all of his lands, whereas his opponent can only untap one land. Brian Davis, on the other hand, is playing Necropotence, which is the 3-mana enchantment that lets him turn life points into cards. He also has Drain Life and Corrupt, which allows him to gain life while killing his opponent's creatures and his opponent's life total so that he can draw more cards off of Necropotence back again. He also has Nevinyrral's Disc to kill his own Necropotence so that he can get his draw step back, as well as clear off his opponent's board. If you are new to the channel, we scour the internet for old matches of Magic. We enhance the video quality with AI technology to make them easier to watch. If you appreciate all the hard work that goes into these videos, please simply subscribe to the channel and like the videos so that more people can find them on YouTube. Now, let's get into the action.
So Wall Roots number 2 comes into play by Levy.
Right. Now, I think here he should, I think it's almost time to try to blow the disc, consult for a wasteland, waste the other land, and play Necropotence. I think that's his best option. And that once that Necropotence hits play, it's going to be a free-for-all.
He sees it.
Yep. You remember those hours of boredom and now moments of terror? This is the moment of terror. Everybody should start paying attention because it's about to get really interesting. He is going to try to get the console through.
It's got to be Wasteland, right?
Yeah, I think that's the
this gets Necro
without a doubt the best card to cast, or the best card to get off the demonic consultation.
Sure, looks like Wasteland works here.
For the demonic consultation, you mean Wasteland?
If you want to see a very subtle play, notice that Levy taps the tropical. Now, when Davis gets Wasteland, he has to waste an Underground, which is better for Levy.
Right, was well played.
That's just the kind of little subtle plays that a great player makes, and I think Levy's actually in a very small group of players I would consider great.
Davis, on the other hand, said demonic consultation naming Wasteland. Now that ruling has gone back and forth, but my understanding of the current ruling is that you cast demonic consultation, and when it resolves, you pick the card. Yeah, I've just had that confirmed. So Davis tipped his hand as to what he's going to consult for.
Right.
Levy's asking about this right now. I mean, he's not supposed to name, but I mean, Davis is sort of giving away some information. Because Wasteland is... You can imagine Levy saying, well, whatever he consults for, I can just counter it.
Right.
But he can't counter Wasteland.
That's right. That's right. And
this is the kind of play you do when you want your opponent to counter the consult. Like, if I want my opponent to counter demonic consultation, then I consult for a Wasteland or something he can't counter, thus forcing him to counter the consult.
Right. I think actually, though, he doesn't want him to counter it.
I agree completely. I think it's a mistake.
Right. Although it doesn't really matter because even if he does counter it,
that's good enough.
The disc goes off and the Necro goes through.
Also, maybe he does. Maybe he's just making exactly that play. Maybe Davis is saying, I'd rather have him counter this and not risk the consult.
Yeah, and that's a good play because now he doesn't have to go through his deck and the agony of possibly losing his 4th Necro, possibly maybe even and potentially losing the game if there's Wastelands in the top.
And he gets to draw arcane cards. Maybe this is good enough.
Yeah, I think
maybe that was his play. Maybe he wanted the consult to be countered.
Yeah, if that would be a great play on his part.
I mean, Davis is... Davis, at only 15... made a pretty good play there. It's hard to know whether he saw that or whether he tipped his hand on purpose or not. It's unclear, but I'm willing to give him credit. He's sitting here. He wouldn't be in the semifinals if he didn't know how to play.
Yeah.
wouldn't be sitting there if he didn't know how to play.
I pretty much agree with most every decision he's made so far.
You know, he's tied for the youngest ever to make the final day of a Pro Tour.
Wait a sec, though.
Wait,
there was.
why didn't he blow the disc?
I don't know. Now that I don't.
Why is the disc on the table?
I'm not sure. That I consider very strange. If he blows the disc,
he blows the disc. He plays Necro.
Strange. He draws into duress, which
he got a bunch of cards, but he got lucky to draw into the duress.
Yeah, I agree.
He got his arcane cards in his draw phase, but if there's no duress in there, then I think Necro's worth it to just... He's getting 3 for 1 off the disc anyway.
Right.
I guess he can blow it on his turn. Yeah, he could have... He can see his cards. The 15-year-old's a step ahead of his prime. He can draw his cards, see if there's a duress, then blow the disc, and then, like, Levy can't float mana, he'll just declare a combat phase.
Right.
No, the 15-year-old's a step ahead of us again. Tying Ben Rubin to be the youngest person ever to make the final day in the Pro Tour, but he's making all the right moves. I don't know, first ever Pro Tour with Necro in Chicago in Extended. It's happened before. So he's got to duress the Arcane, right? There's not a second one.
That's right.
I didn't see what Levy drew off his own Arcane Denial cards. But presumably he duresses the Arcane, plays Necro, and then Necro Disc is more old school tech.
That's right.
Oh, there's a second Winter Orb. You might want that. No, he's got to take the Arcane so that he can... No, take the Winter Orb, blow the disc, then he doesn't need to worry about the Arcane. He has to worry about it later on. But, well, he actually took Arcane Denial. It's going to be annoying later on. I mean,
yeah. Okay, let's see how he's envisioning this turn.
So now that he's taken the Arcane Denial, he does not need to blow the disc. Yeah, this is sort of what I was thinking. Necro Disc is, I mean, speaking of old school tech, right? We got the Hallowed Ground Mystery going on a Necro Disc, pretty good combo.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going to fill his hand and then get his draw step back. I mean, I don't think it's necessary to be able to blow up Necro to make good use of that card, but it's not a bad combo if Disc is good in your deck anyway.
Yeah. Although with Spin and Drain Life in his hand, I don't know, it would seem like, and only one Necropotence left, I'm not sure he actually wants to blow it up.
Yeah, he wants...
But maybe,
so you think he should have... You think he should have duressed Winter Orb, disced away the Winter Orb in play, then let Levy have the Arcane, but he can't cast it this turn, so...
Well, yeah, it's really complicated. Like, Davis can go down multiple different routes, so it's really hard to second-guess him sitting here because he's got a vision of what he thinks he's going to draw, what he thinks is going to happen. And so there may not be one necessarily best route. The way he's doing it... Okay, Necro's for 4.
4 cards. So now it's Davis 18, Levy 15.
So
not very aggressive, but this isn't a situation that calls for aggressive Necro.
Right. We'll get to see what Davis is envisioning, how he's going to win this game.
Okay.
There's 2 walls in play, right? One of them is full, and the other one has 1 counter on it.
Right. The other option he could have is trying to do some moderate pressure with the disc in play.
Right.
Perhaps. So
he's got enough free spells, so the Winter Orb doesn't hurt him that much.
Right.
It prevents his Drain Engine.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, here comes the Spin Contagion trick.
Spinning Darkness again.
There's the Spin trick. Now he's going to...
Which one did he spin? The 2 counter or the 1 counter?
Is there a 2? It's a 2 counter and 1 counter?
He spins the 1 counter one.
Sure.
So...
No, the 2 counter one.
Or the 2 counter one, right.
Spins the 2 counter one, killing him.
Right, he could have Contagion the other one and spun the other one.
Right. If he was willing to use up Contagion and a black card, he could have killed both walls.
Right. But he has to use both Contagions, is that right?
No, he can Contagion, effectively making...
Yeah,
no, you're right.
Both Contagions.
You're right.
So his hand probably isn't quite juiced enough to do that.
Right. Now, if that was his plan, he could have drawn a lot more cards.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to say. You never know what you're going to draw into. And there's Squee coming back up.
Pesky Goblin.
Yeah, it does seem like...
Yeah, that's going to live.
Yeah, it does seem like Davis wants to try to win this game...
with the Winter Orb in play.
With the Winter Orb in play, or at least
that's
for
his
a
way
while.
to fight that. There's still survival in Raphael Levy's hand? There is, right?
I believe so.
He duressed the 1, but then the second one's still there. That's why... Maybe that's his big plan, is to just win with the Winter Orb in play and the untapped disc holding off Levy's hand. not a bad plan. It's going to take a while, but it might work.
He may figure, too, that...
Two Dark Rituals was nice, by the way. If you're trying to win the game with Winter Orb in play, necroing into 2 Dark Rituals is pretty good.
Yeah. Potentially, he could kill him pretty fast. He has a Swamp in hand.
Christian Lurs has double mulligan in the first game beginning of game 2 against Bob Maher.
It looks like
Maher might be able to even that at 1-1.
It looks like he might even be able to kill Levy by simply casting Corrupt and Drain Life for a lot.
He's going to build up a number of swamps in play, but through his plan.
Right, especially since...
he's doing Drain Life Corrupt math right now.
Right. As a matter of fact, it looks pretty favorable for Davis just because he can get rid of that Winter Orb whenever he needs to. He could cast the Corrupt, blow the disc, then cast a Drain Life, and as long as Levy hasn't drawn into counter magic, it's a foolproof plan.
Yeah, presumably that's why he duressed the Arcane Denial back when we were confused about it.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, often in situations like this, a person has a vision of what they think is going to happen, and while their play might seem strange or wrong, later on in the game, when you see exactly what they were planning, you go, okay, I understand that now.
It looks even better if it works.
Yeah, and he might look great if he wins this long, very strategic game by duressing that Arcane Denial several turns ago.
Go ahead. From the files of our sideboard editor, Monty, brings me from the dojo, June 5th, 1998, Memphis Impulses. How to impulse like Brian Davis. Impulse. So how to impulse like Brian Davis. I'm sorry, is my sound gone? The audio's gone? Alright, I'm back now? Okay, anyway. How to impulse like Brian Davis. Impulse, load up the dojo, take one look at Donay blue 5 color, decide to quit playing Magic, come back in 5 seconds before opponent has picked up his cards, resume the game. Do you understand that?
No. Boy, that's really weird.
I think if there are any of the Memphis players in the audience, they'd be laughing about it.
Maybe, but for me, that was just disturbing. So I'm going to crumple this up.
Thanks, Monty.
And throw it somewhere so I don't have to look at it, because that was just really disturbing. Sorry if I offended the couple of Memphis players in the audience who might be on the floor laughing. Now begins the complex mathematics involved in Winter Orb, Drain Life, Corrupt dynamics.
Yeah.
Here's the Corrupt, I think.
Drain Life math is usually the fun part of the Necro deck, but
yeah,
not necessarily when Winter Orb's on the table.
Another Ritual.
Ritual twice. Dark Ritual. He's got 5 black. 6.
Okay. So Drain Life would work too.
Right.
6 mana Malaka.
But
He's going to Corrupt. He wants to leave his mana untapped as long as possible. I mean, he does have the option at some point of blowing up Winter Orb to untap all his land. Oh, he drains the wall.
Bizarre. Wow.
Drains the wall?
Anytime you think this guy's going to make the play that seems obvious, he doesn't. And he's been right most of the time, but this one is really strange. It seems like he has enough burn in his hand just to burn him out. Kind of shocking that he does it that way.
Okay. Well, look, he's going to gain 4 life, and he's got Necro in play. I mean, he's got what's he at, 25? He just has to find another Corrupt. How many swamps in play? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He's got 8 swamps in play. So 2 Corrupts wins the game.
Yeah, 5.
Yeah, but the thing is
Set
now...
aside 5 cards at 20.
Now,
the guy is at 20 life with Necro in play.
Yeah, it's a good situation, but it seems strange that with the kill in hand he wouldn't go for it. But let's see what he draws. No more direct.
Still got the 1 Corrupt. How many cap? Well, right, so he's got to figure out what to discard.
Instead of killing him next turn, he now looks like he's in a situation where he's going to give Levy some additional draws. I don't know about that play, but he may be thinking that he's getting more control by killing the wall. I'm not sure.
It would be sort of like his kill. If he did go for the kill, it would be a little risky. If Raphael had top deck permission of some sort, the kill would not work. Because if he was going to kill him next turn, it would be required to disc away the Winter Orb, untap all his lands. And now, if Levy does have counter magic, he's gotten Levy out from under the Winter Orb. I mean, Davis has played this game in order to lock Levy under Levy's own Winter Orb, and he has to surrender that if he goes for the kill.
That's reasonable enough. The only fear I have with the way Davis is playing it is sometimes that you see this happen, especially in Limited, where someone gives another player too many draws,
right?
And instead of giving Levy 1 or 2 draws to draw into an Arcane Denial, he's going to give him several draws to draw into potential threats.
But does he lose to Levy's Arcane Denial? Now, if Arcane Denial would lose the game for Davis, then sure, I agree with your play.
Right.
If you're going to lose to Arcane Denial anyway, then try to minimize the number of draws you give your opponent to come up with it.
Right.
But if he thinks he can play around a top-decked Arcane Denial, then I think he's right to play around it.
Right. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, too, if the disc gets blown. He could potentially Necro for a huge number of cards because he's at very large life in order to draw into, like, further corrupts and drain lives. And he'd still gain all the life from whichever corrupt or drain life went through. So it seemed to me this still a good play, but I guess he's really decided that Levy's going to choke on his own Winter Orb.
Levy's looks like he's in pain.
Oh, interesting.
Monk Realist the Necro.
Now, this was something I was thinking about earlier. While it does give...
That's actually a really good play.
Davis a lot of cards on the following turn, I actually think this is correct, and I
agree with you.
He could have done it a little bit earlier, too.
Well, Necro's only been played for 2 turns.
Right, but he did give him 2 turns of Necro, and he's had the Realist the whole time. But
he gave him 1 extra turn of Necro. This is only the second turn second of Levy's turns where Necro was in play. Usually, it's a mistake to blow up the Necro play with Necro. But in this situation, I agree with Raphael Levy completely.
Magic's a weird game. When you play a kid who's like 9 years old and he disenchants your Necro, you tell all your friends after the match is over, oh, I played this 9-year-old kid, he disenchanted my Necro, you wouldn't believe it. Then you go to the Final Four, and it comes down to the correct play is to disenchant the Necro.
Sets aside 5 cards, going down to 15. Is that enough cards?
What do you think, Randy? I mean, you're the Necro player. I'll defer to your expertise. Is he being too conservative here?
He's being more conservative than I would be. And I watched him a number of matches yesterday and thought the same thing. But it's been working for him.
Yeah.
He knows his deck. He wouldn't be sitting here if he wasn't a really good player.
Yeah, and he's really played this under a certain paradigm that's been very effective. So let's see what happens here on Davis's turn.
Gets his draw phase. Draws. Wasteland. Good card.
That's a very strong card.
Now he's going to Contagion to kill both of those creatures during his end step. He's going to get 5 Necro cards at the end of this turn.
Cast Contagion on those 2?
Why is he doing this now?
Well, he figures the Consultation's a totally dead card, so he might as well do it now.
Pretty bad, but I mean, shouldn't he just look at the deck of cards?
I suppose.
Oh, Wasteland. Wasteland beats Quirion Ranger beats Wasteland. No, he's totally correct. He wants to kill the Quirion Ranger so he can use his Wasteland effectively.
Right.
Yeah, it's the right play. I forgot about the fact that Quirion Ranger would shut down his Wasteland. Yeah, that's well done. Now he can waste. And Quirion Ranger can't save the Tropical. I mean, he knew he wanted the Tropical. It counts as a forest. So, yeah. I mean, and you're right. Consult was a bad enough card that he didn't need to wait to make sure it was the worst of his cards at the end of the turn.
One thing that'll be interesting, regardless of who wins this game, is how they sideboard. Levy has an additional Winter Orb in his sideboard. Will he go to 4 Winter Orbs?
He's been locked under his own Winter Orb.
Right.
Game.
What
I think
happened
it's been weird.
Right. Or is he going? Okay. Or is he going to switch, take the Winter Orbs out, and potentially go with no Winter Orbs? I mean, normally Winter Orbs are a very devastating card versus Necropotence, but it hasn't seemed that way this game. He's certainly going to board in the additional Force of Will he has.
The thing is that this is not like a normal Necro deck in the sense this deck has 8 or 7 free creature kill spells. It can kill. It's got 4 Contagions, 3 Spinning Darknesses, and does he have the 4th spin in the sideboard? He may or may not have the 4th spin in the sideboard, so he can kill creatures for free. The way Levy takes advantage of Winter Orb is that he has mana creatures.
Right.
But Davis just slaughters them all.
Right.
So it's not clear how good the Necro is. Anyway, Davis advanced into his end step, picked up the 5 cards he set aside from the Necro on the previous turn, didn't get them till his end step, and then he was forced to discard a couple cards. But his hand's loaded, and
Davis also has Perish, 2 more discs, and 3 powder kegs, so potentially
A lot of control.
and even dystopia if you wanted it. So he could board in a lot more things to kill Levy's creatures.
I don't know how he's going to. I don't know whether he wants to fight Levy's control or his creatures. All right, now might be a good time to blow the disc. By the way, if Davis blows the disc right now, both those undiscovereds are going to bounce on Levy's next turn. Like now, if Davis knows the undiscovered rulings, he can blow the disc, kill the wall and the Winter Orb, get all his own mana for a massive corrupt, and then on Levy's turn, he has to pick up both his undiscovered paradises. He'll have no permanence in play at the beginning of his next main phase if Davis blows the disc right here. Davis has to understand the undiscovered paradise Winter Orb interaction to see it, but he's clearly thinking. I mean, I think Levy's done with his turn. Looks like Davis is thinking about it. He has, is that 1 corrupt or 2 in his hand? He has 2 corrupts in his hand. Yeah, does he have 12 mana? 4, 5. He doesn't quite have enough to cast both corrupts. What's he doing? He's thinking. Yep.
Disc, yeah.
There's the disc. Good play. Good play. He locked Levy under his own Winter Orb. He wanted to force Levy to overcommit. Levy preferred to discard rather than overcommit, and then Davis forced him to commit by a little bit anyway.
Very interesting game.
Yep. Another Wasteland. He doesn't really need to use it.
And he doesn't.
Nope.
He understands.
He's going to corrupt for 9.
Corrupt you for 9.
Levy takes 9 down to 6. Davis goes up to 23. Now presumably Davis is just done. And then Levy's going to have to pick up all the rest of his cards. First Levy scoops, sort of, unofficially. And next turn Levy's going to scoop officially. He's going to scoop his card. Yeah, Bird will, of course, get killed. It doesn't matter. It just corrupts. All right, that'll do it.
Game 1, Mr. Davis.
All right, so Brian Davis wins game 1, 1 game to 0. Hello, and welcome back to the semifinals of Pro Tour Chicago. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm here with Brian Hacker, and we're going to pick up where we left off right before lunch. We're going to start out with a match between Raphael Levy and Brian Davis. They actually played game 2 over lunch. Raphael has a plane to catch at 5. I'm sure he'll miss it if he makes the finals, but that game didn't last very long. Raphael only drew 2 lands in his first 15 cards. Brian drew 2 wastelands, and Raphael died with no lands and no permanents in play. So Brian Davis currently leads this match 2 games to 0. And Raphael, once again, doesn't have any land. Raphael's deck does only have 16 lands in it.
This is really scary because not only was that a really poor draw and he's going to have to mulligan, but Brian Davis's hand has really the spells that he wants to have. He has a Contagion, he has a Duress, he has a Consult, so he can pretty much deal
and a Dark
with,
Ritual.
Yeah, so you can do
And
a
a
lot
Wasteland.
early on. And the Wasteland.
And a Contagion. I cannot imagine if the Consult was a Necro. That's the only way that hand could possibly be better. And the Consult just is going to become a Necro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Davis's hand is perfect.
That's a devastating opening hand.
As far as sideboarding goes, Raphael Levy chose to bring in his 4th Winter Orb. I was talking to Craig Wesco during the lunch break. He and Brian Davis actually built Raphael Levy's deck out of proxies last night, and they tested for this semifinal. They expected Raphael to beat Alan Comer because of the no-rod, so this was the matchup they tested the most, other than his quarterfinal match against Tony Dobson. And their plan was to lock Raphael Levy under his own Winter Orbs. They felt that between Contagion and Spinning Darkness, they had enough creature removal to just kill all the mana creatures and lock Raphael Levy under his own Winter Orb. And you know what? In game 1, that's precisely what Brian did. I think Brian knew that plan. That's why, if you remember, he duressed Sliver Queen on that one turn, which surprised us. He had the whole game figured out. So Brian Davis playing very well. Raphael Levy's new draw includes Taiga and Quiron Ranger. That's probably enough mana that he's going to keep it, but it's not exactly exciting. Go ahead.
It's a decent draw if he could, if Davis didn't have the Contagion.
Oh, another Wasteland.
Right.
Quiron Ranger, though.
Yeah, it's not that bad because he might have to wait a turn to get off the Contagion.
Yeah, he sort of wants to put Necro in play before he Contagions. He's
Yeah.
set up to go turn 2, Consult for Necro, Ritual, Necro, Contagion during your end step.
Yeah, this is still pretty ugly. He drew his 1 opposition, which is difficult for him to cast.
Arcane, you know.
takes the Arcane. Wants to make sure he gets out Necro next turn. Raphael Levy gets to play some Quirion Ranger tricks on this turn. He can tap the Tropical, return it to his hand to untap his Quirion Ranger, play it again, and get Merfolk Looter onto the board. I think he has. I mean, that sets himself up to be really hurt by Contagion. But with only one land, he has to play the Looter, right?
I believe so. I wonder if he's going to put the Winter or the Looter in play. Oh, Survival.
Survival.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you. Okay, so he's going to go get Elves.
Yeah, he needs to get Elves, yeah. He has some things in his hand that he can pitch easily to the Survival of
Go ahead.
Fittest.
Davis draws another Dark Ritual. So what's your play this turn, Brian?
I would, consult for Necro, put out Necro, and I might even get rid of the Quirion Ranger right off the bat. Over Necro a little bit, kill the Quirion, give yourself the best chance to really limit the mana production of Levy, especially since he's got the Survival in play.
I agree completely. And Davis didn't hesitate. We watched him play very carefully in the first game, but this one, I think he smells blood.
Yeah, especially with the Wasteland in hand, he's
and the one land
in
draw
really
from
good
Levy.
shape.
Necro
All right.
for 4.
4?
I don't
That only gives him
understand
8 in
that.
hand. He should Contagion the Quirion Ranger, right?
Davis plays like perfect. It seems. Other than it seems like he's a little under Necros a little bit. Like here, it's so clear. I think that he's going to Contagion because.
Well, he's going to spin because there's only one creature.
Yeah, he can spin.
So now he's not going to have to discard, but still, he didn't have the spin at the time. I thought he should have Necroed up to 9 so that he can Contagion and keep 7 cards.
Yeah.
Not going to matter. I mean, his hand was just perfect, and now the Wasteland is going to destroy Tropical Island. That's not a land.
This is going to be quick.
Yep. He's going to Wasteland the only land, and Raphael Levy's going to make his plane. Go ahead.
Not often are you hoping to miss your flight, but Levy probably was, but I think he's going to get there with plenty of time.
Yep.
Pick up a couple, maybe pick up some magazines,
Yep.
read a little bit for the
Tropical.
international flight.
Green mana.
Yeah, Levy's going to survival for something.
Probably an elf, but
Elf or a bird,
really
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Necropotence for 2.
Davis only sets aside 2 cards.
Did he not survival there?
Well, Davis wanted a Necro for 2 before he's willing to go to his end step.
Oh, okay.
It's not a big
Makes
deal. I mean, he could have just declared a combat phase, but Necro for 2, he doesn't really have a plan. Is that Ebony Charm? Or is that just a foreign Dark Ritual that I don't know whatever language word it is for Dark Ritual? I think that's a Dark Ritual. He doesn't have
Yeah, I
Ebony
don't
Charm.
believe he has Ebony
That's
Charm.
right, yes. Yeah, he has Planar Void in his board, but it's still in his board. Yeah, that's just a foreign language Dark Ritual. Alright, Levy survivals for... Yeah, it looks like he's going to take Llanowar Elf. And he has to hope to draw a land, but even if he draws a land, we can see that Davis has yet another Wasteland in his hand.
Yeah,
His Wastelands have single-handedly won him this match, I think.
yeah. This is pretty ugly.
Oh,
Land.
Going to my step.
Necro gives him a spin and a swamp, so he's got no offense going on. And he took out his 2 Skittering Scourges, so he doesn't really have any creatures. But he doesn't need them, he just needs to build up to 6 mana and start pointing Corrupts at Raphael's head. Alright, there's the bird. And the bird's gonna die, and the City Grass is gonna die, and...
Yeah, it's an elf, but it doesn't really matter. It's they're both going to go.
Does Davis have enough black cards in his graveyard to spin, or does he have to Contagion this
I
elf?
think he doesn't have any actually. I think he just has the Wasteland.
Well, he should have the previous spin.
It's 1.
What's black card?
Wasn't Necro in play when he spun?
That's not a discard.
Oh, that's right. Okay, yeah, you're
He
right.
cast
Yeah,
a
he's
spell
still
and
got
went
the
to the
spin.
very-
Yeah,
But only one black card means that he'll have to Contagion this elf. So he should Necro up to a minimum of 9 cards.
Contagion him. Moving. Train life.
Why not just draw your cards
figured
first?
he'd Necro first.
Like, he might get a Necro.
Yeah, I'm not really sure why he did that, but
There's no advantage to doing it main phase rather than end step. He should...
Davis seems to have all the strategic matters down pat. It just seems small matters of like technical issues, things like
Yeah, he's
you know,
got the big issues, right? And see there, he just drew a Necro, right?
yeah, which is something that he'd want to lose.
Yeah, he'd much rather remove Necro from the game than Dark Ritual. I mean, Drain Life. Drain Life is
Yeah.
good, Necro is bad. At this point of the game.
Go ahead.
He keeps Necro in his hand because it's a black card, which is fine, but the reason is so you can pitch it to
Go
Contagion.
ahead.
Just unclear why I did that main phase. It shouldn't matter. I mean, Raphael doesn't have any land.
Is there any bizarre scenario here where he doesn't get enough, where he wouldn't get enough life gaining to win the game?
Now that he's removed Drain Life from the game, I guess he's opened one up. That was the only drain in
That's
his hand.
probably, let's assume the top 10 cards, there's no life gaining. That would give,
I mean, he has Spinning
Levy a
Darkness.
chance to win.
He has Spinning Darkness in his hand, so he gets to draw 13 cards.
Well, he needs a creature in play, right? And so theoretically, Levy could just
Never ever cast a creature.
never cast a creature till he's got an arcane denial in his hand. So, like, I guess Levy's not completely locked out, but I mean, the odds of that happening are pretty slim.
Yeah, Davis takes 3 cards, going down to 8.
But he did sideboard out a Drain Life and a Corrupt.
Yes, he did. He
Let's see.
sideboarded out a Drain Life and a Corrupt, and he just randomly removed a Drain Life.
Bill
from the
doesn't
game.
have a life gaining. That pitching the Drain Life could become important later on here.
He's out of Wastelands too, so Levy might start to do stuff.
Like,
Go ahead.
Rafi, strangely, his best play is not to play any creatures because they would get spun. Strange. I don't know
doubt
if
that's really his best play.
I think it might be.
I mean, he doesn't know Davis's hand.
Right.
Could easily just look like Davis is building up to Corrupt. Davis takes 2 cards down to 6. This amount of under necroing doesn't bother me too much, simply because
There they are.
there's Corrupt and Drain. He's just trying to build up land. He needs to build up to 6 lands in play.
Yeah.
That's his big goal at this point, so that he can start corrupting. And
Right.
there's no reason to over necro when he can't really accomplish anything until he gets to 6. Levy taps the Undiscovered for green, throws away the Orangutan to get a Bird of Paradise.
We have something very interesting here. We have the Pro Tour records of all 4 people in the semifinal. Christian Lure's Pro Tour record is 46, 25, and 3. That's including this tournament.
It's pretty good.
Maher's is 89, 61, and 6. Another impressive record.
Clearly the veteran of the group.
Levy with an extremely impressive 77, 44, and 9. That's actually very monstrous.
It's about the same as, 46-25 is a better percentage.
And Lure's with
So the best percentage is
the best
clearly
percentage
Davis is 11-3.
yeah, 11-3 for Davis, which is all, of course,
12-3 counting the quarters.
Chicago. So now, here comes a big Drain Life.
Drain Life here for 5.
It's not that big, it's 5.
Yeah.
These guys don't play Lake of the Dead anymore. Not with that Wasteland card around. I remember Lake of the Dead.
Necropotence for 4.
Sets aside 4 cards, doesn't over necro by any. He really needs to draw a swamp here. I might take maybe 1 extra card just to make sure I drew a swamp.
Is it 14, right?
Yep.
That's probably right.
Swamp or Wasteland. I mean, Wasteland would be good enough, but... Okay, he does get the swamp he wants.
It'd be very difficult
And a
for him.
necro, which he could easily throw away if he'd over necroed by 1.
Yeah, this is almost a matter of just clerical work at this point.
Should be. I mean, he's got the Corrupt, so he's going to go up to 16. And surely there's some damage source in his next 15 cards. Duress, just to be sure. He's not going to Corrupt this turn. Levy just throws his hand down in disgust. He knows what's up.
What's interesting there is Levy didn't even cast the bird. I wonder if Levy was thinking the same thing about him not having enough damage in his deck to
Possible.
win. It would be very strange for him not to play that way unless that's what he was thinking, which is actually really, really smart because Davis has sideboarded out.
And there you have it. Brian Davis advances to the finals of the Pro Tour to play against Bob Maher in one of the most epic Pro Tour finals. Thank you so much for watching, and you'll have to tune into another episode to see that match. Please like this video and subscribe. Thanks again for watching. Have a great day.